My plays, my poems. Yes. I did write a play once. Country Western Jewish Faustian play. Song of Soda play, Wildwood Flower like Mother Maybelle Carter.
Blossom Dearie. Just when you talked about her, it was really, it's quite special when you talk about her.
Oh. Well, of course, I guess she lived in my building for 42 years, I think. And through the years we became friendlier, and she was happy to talk to somebody that knew something about, I guess they now call it the American Songbook, and also old movies. And she would just like, I was talking about how well written some of those songs were, and some of them better than some of the poetry people write today, and like Deep Purple Dream, or in the Deep Purple, what's it? Well, now of course now I can't think of it, but I would quote. I always leave out a line when I, what's it? My hand's going.
Well, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that just bugs me that I forget something I know so well. But I quoted that, and of course I left out. There's a line I always leave out, which she immediately filled in, and just like there's another lyric, and this is after she had a stroke, and her memory wasn't as good, and there's a line, I'm not with you for better but for worse, and she immediately filled in the next line. But that last time, and then she gave me tickets twice for concerts, probably the last two concerts, and in the second one I invited you to pay back all the things you had done for me through the years, following Hunky's thing and probably Gregory's, it didn't cost me a dime, but and those tickets right by the piano, and she was maybe 81, 82 at the time, and still in fine form. And then shortly afterwards she had a stroke, and I didn't see her for a long time. And then coming home, I get to the elevator and I hear someone tapping on the other side, and it was Blossom, and she was too weak to open up the door, and she was bored. I guess the attendant was gone, and she was bored sitting in her apartment, and she wanted to go out and go somewhere to get coffee because she wanted the atmosphere. And we walked halfway up the block, and then she realized she could not go any further. And at that time I asked her about, because if she knew Anita O'Day, and she said, don't tell me she died, and she had died when she had had a stroke, so she didn't know about it. And said the last time I heard from her, she asked me if I could give her, I forgot if it was $300 or I think maybe $500, and she said, I didn't have the money at that time, but I feel bad about it now. Maybe I could have given her 100 or maybe 200. Now, I don't know when this was. It could have been years earlier, but it's interesting. These are two women, very prominent, very influential in their field, but still short of money. And I told her that Billy can make me cry and Anita can make me laugh, and she said, I understand. And then we went to her apartment, and she sent me out to get some coffee for her. And this was August, and she had the heater on, towels by the door, so just to make sure she wouldn't get chilled or anything, and just and we just talked about music and some of which I can't remember now. I probably wrote it down in my Blossom Dearie story. But that's the next morning. I told everyone that I was hijacked by an old lady, but an interesting one. And Blossom was very, not only influential as a singer, but as a pianist. And once again, just lucky I got to know her and spend some time with her.
You said that Miles Davis liked her a lot.
Oh yes. What's interesting is Miles Davis liked her a lot, and they played. I don't know if it was like a half a dozen dates at the Vanguard, and Gil Evans wanted, who I think was working with Miles at that time, wanted her arrangement for something. I'm wondering if it's with Sorry with a Fringe on top, because Miles's version, I'll have to hear them both back to back, sounds something like Blossom's. But anyway, she played it for him and for Gil Evans, and she said, "Do you want me to play it again?" He said, "Why? It was perfect." And Dave Frischberg, playing either the Gate or the Vanguard, was talking to Bill Evans, and people were wondering what Bill Evans and Blossom, I think they call it piano chorus, which I don't know what that is, but it's a piano style, and they both had similar styles, and he asked Bill Evans where he learned that, and he said he learned it from Blossom Dearie, and just went on about how wonderful her piano playing, and he was found it fascinating because this dated back many years ago, and most jazz musicians didn't speak well of women musicians at that point. And Bill Evans just went into rapture about her playing, which is not, it doesn't seem like a virtuoso performance, but what she was doing was not easy. And also one comment about her, she said the trouble with most piano players that back singers is too much piano. And Blossom knew exactly how to back herself up on the piano. And another time when I mentioned I saw two jazz performers. One, I thought the band was much better, and she immediately wanted to know the makeup of the band. And I said, the opening act was a singer who also played sax, and I thought of the sax as a really sensual instrument. And I didn't like the way he played. He played a lot of sharp, quick notes. And her comment was, ick. That was a critical statement. But that's all I can think of right now on Blossom.